And that's it, folks. It's official. It is Friday Fun Day. Friday somewhere. Friday right here, folks. Hey, my name is Rob Appell and welcome. I'm a quilt maker from Stitchin Heaven out in Quitman, Texas. And of course, right here on YouTube and also hopefully today over on Facebook as we present live. And we're diving right in. If you haven't caught our format the last couple of weeks, due to the excitement, enthusiasm, and participation of our Scrap Masters random scrap block sew along, I thought it'd be kind of fun to start sewing live on video, and everybody seems to really be enjoying that. So what we're going to do again today in just a few moments, we're going to generate our random scrap block, and I'll start sewing, play the announcements video, and then catch up with you all at the end to discuss what I've learned, see how the block's going and all that kind of stuff, allowing you all to continue to comment out there in the comments. So it's awesome to see Tara and Mona and Nancy and Carl and Michael, I think, is new today, although I've been seeing, he is, I shouldn't point this out, he's one of our overachievers. So you Scrap Master followers who've been seeing the two blocks, if I recognize the name correctly, he's one of the double posters. So at any rate, super great to have everybody following along today. Hopefully you have all had an incredibly blessed week. I certainly have. Lots and lots of quilting, therefore lots and lots of show and tell coming up real soon. So I've got a couple of real fun items here on the table, but I should probably move them out of the way. Of course, I've got a new project up on the wall. My friends that keep me inspired and encouraged know exactly what that is. So they've been following along all morning with the enthusiasm, and we'll talk about that also. Maybe that's going to be in the way. No, maybe not. We'll see what happens. Okay, I think we can get away with that. Fantastic. Okay, so for Scrap Masters, folks, it's time where we do, this is week 18, and I do have a chart. I'll post it this afternoon in the Facebook group, but you do not have to be caught up. You do not have to start back on any of the weeks. It's just a fun, random scrap block generator where we're making blocks that each week I just make one, right? They're turning out about 12.5 inches or so. And we have 6 patterns to choose from, and we let the dice kind of do, and the color wheel, our instructions. So it's just really fun to go ahead and put up different little combinations that we're all having fun with. And then everybody puts out their pictures on our wonderful Facebook page. And so anyways, it's a great time, and it's really fun to see what everybody's doing. We're all learning from each other. And so now we need to get ready. So I will assemble the overhead. Oh, look at that. That's going to be a nice shot for today. You can even see my little switchboard. We're going to get our spinner on the set. We're going to get our die, and here we go. The official week 18. Boy, that sure seems like it's running a little loud today. Sorry about that. Maybe that's just me being excited, folks. Okay, here we go. Official week 18, roll and spin, Scrap Masters. Here we go. Okay, folks, block number 4 this week. Let's see how we're doing. I don't think we've done a block 4 in a while. There's our block 4. Okay, we've got some half square triangles, but not a ton. That's good. That'll help speed up things a little bit. Pattern is free download in the link below. Okay, what color are we going to do block 4 in this week? Here we go. Spinning the official week 18 spin. Oh, that hurts sometimes when you flick it good. And red orange. Okay, block number 4, red orange. Here we go. How many different fabrics can we use? How many different fabrics can we use? All right, here we go. We're always looking for a big number, folks. Big numbers, no whammies. 10, I'll take it. Okay, that's it. 10, 4 in the red orange. 10, 4, good buddies. And block number 4. Okay, so now what I want to do is just slide that out of the way, and we're going to pick our 10 fabrics really quick. And let's see, how many different half square triangles am I going to get to do in this one? Oh, there are still a series, aren't there? So with that, we're going to want to make a couple of different high contrasters. So let's go for about 6 from the red orange family, which is good because I've got a bunch of those still. Okay, so we're going to call that, there's fabric 1, 2, got to be more of my scraps in there. 3, 4, let it get in. Oh yeah, right there. Okay, so we're going to get those 5 different ones to work with. Getting low on scraps, folks. So I think I'm going to have to throw in this. Now, of course, there are no rules, but that's going to be my 6 red. And I think I want to bring in today, what are we going to bring in to play with it? Yeah, and I've got a bunch of these. Okay, and they're already pre-cut down to 2.5s. So that could be all of my fill in there and some of those darker blues. So I get, I better pull that out of there. I better do this. Sure like that though. No, we're going to pull that out for this week. I'm using that a lot. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's our 10 fabrics. There you can see them all. And now with that, as you well know, I'm going to go ahead and play the announcements video so that I can go ahead and get started on building out these units. And then when the announcement video is over, I will be back to check on all of you and let you all know how I am doing here as I dive into my Scrap Masters Block 4. So here we go. And that's right, folks. As Rob continues to try to sew a thon and make that Scrap Masters block while you all wait, let's go ahead and do our recorded announcements video today, which is mostly a show and tell of great quilted objects. And yes, we will talk about the hummingbird, the fly on the wall here in a moment. Flyer on the wall if we may, but I'm super excited. So yes, thank you very much everybody for being part of today's show. Make sure to be aware, if it's your first time, I often try to put as many links in the description as possible. I talk about a lot of different projects and products and places and things. And so anyways, those are all in our description on YouTube. We also have folks following us along on Facebook. We have a special group on Facebook called So Well Rob Appell. Now, there are 3 questions you must answer, and I'm the gatekeeper, and that will allow you to come in and participate in all that we're doing. But that's where we're also posting our Scrap Masters blocks as we sew along, the free sew along each week. So I would love for all of you to be participating there, as well as, of course, subscribed to our YouTube channel and notified with that little bell notification so you don't miss out on any of the fun on our Wednesday tutorials or our Friday live show. Speaking of fun, the Glowing Checkered Star Retreat is coming up August 6th through 10th. And if you'll notice that quilt in the background there, that is the Glowing Checkered Star. We're getting ready to make another series, but probably the last series of quilt kits for that project. So if you would like one, make sure you purchase or sign up on the wait list at stitchinheaven.com so we know how many quilt kits to make prior to our August event. We don't want you to miss out. Speaking of awesome events, I just got back from Shipshewana, so we were doing a sewcation there. We've got another one coming up in the same kind of area. Everyone there at Shipshewana was telling me how amazing Lancaster is. Lancaster, Pennsylvania will be July 6th through 11th. This year, we have a couple of great teachers that will be joining you, plus our staff. So Joe Caraway there and Annette Plog will be there as your instructors. Fantastic. And it's going to be so much fun. I really encourage you to sign up for that and join along. Something we don't talk about a lot here, but I'm doing more and more videos, including on the tutorials on Wednesday, block of the month, folks. So we have tons and tons of offerings, actually between 6 to 8 new block of the months every month This is just a quick sampling, also available at stitchinheaven.com. And while we're talking about some of our products, I don't want you to forget, oh, it's gone missing. But with our Scrap Masters, I've been playing so much with all of these fun and lovely color bundles as we did make our Boneyard bundles. And I've got my rainbow there. What do I call it? Rob's Rainbow, excuse me. And then we also have the wonderful Tiffany's boutiques, but I apparently have let the picture go missing, but you can see it here and as well as on the homepage. Now, folks, even those say coming soon, those are cut to order. So you can get yourself either a half yard bundle of 20 fabrics or quarter yard bundle of 20 fabrics. Here, I'll just grab mine real quick. I have them set on the side because I'm going to be making a whole nother project out of them. Actually, hopefully starting for this weekend. But here's my Boneyard bundle live. And oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. Let me do that again for you. Oh my gosh, that's just so beautiful. Yeah, and so it changes because I've custom picked a bunch of fabrics. So it's going to stay in this same color palette for you, but I can't guarantee every fabric you see in my bundle will be those in your bundles. But that's fun and it works great for the Scrap Masters, but you can see how I love my bright fabrics. So like even here on Kevin the Hummingbird, you will be able to use these fabrics for just about everything I'm working with right now. Although you'd still need to build your backgrounds differently, and that's kind of the fun of being able to work within different quilt, let's call it kits, but then add your own variety. And that's kind of my concept, or I shouldn't say mine, but the concept that Tiffany Hayes and myself had behind the Boneyard bundles is we've got this incredible palette of quilt fabrics to work with. Some of them bolts after bolts that were technically, when you do a block of the month, like I said, we had so many block of the months that we do at Stitchin Heaven, is, as you know, even with our quilts, nothing ever comes out equal portions. Like your coffee and your muffin should always come out that equal portion, right? But no, quilting is just not that way. So we'll often have a few bolts left over. And so Tiffany and I thought, well, why don't we make some beautiful quilts out of that? But they're a little bit more specialty, a little bit more unique or curated or exclusive or limited edition. So folks, if you like what we're doing right now with these projects, please don't miss out. They will continue, but each one won't last long, if that makes sense. So I'm pretty excited about this, obviously. Now let's get into our grateful list. If you're a first-time viewer today here on YouTube with us at Stitchin Heaven, I'm a very grateful individual, but sometimes I really struggle and suffer from anxiety and or depression. And I just find that some of the easier ways for me to work quickly out of that mindset is to think about something that I'm grateful for. So on Fridays, I like to put out the list of things that I've been grateful for throughout the week. It's often be a weekly recap. Feel free to write along in the comments the things that you're grateful for. It is so fun to see all of you and what you're doing and what you're grateful for. And this is kind of also a quick view into my personal life each week. And because if you have been following for a while, you know we've got a lot going on with graduations and weddings and things. And oh my gosh, so here we go. But I'm going to include a show and tell as we do the grateful list for today. So with no further ado, here we go. Yes, number one on my grateful list, the graduation photo. Now, let me slow this down a little bit. I had several, I may say, great graduation photos that I captured, and a lot of them with the iPhone. Here's my lovely wife. Oops, I didn't realize Catherine's eyes were closed. And my soon-to-be daughter-in-law, my son's soon-to-be lovely wife. Anyways. And then, of course, afterwards, you know, there's always the family time where everyone gets out and poses on the lawn and all that stuff. And boy, he sure is a lot taller, especially with that cap on, than we are. But here was the situation at hand. As I went in, and I love my DSLRs, and I knew I was going to be sitting quite a ways. And this is a 300 millimeter L series lens that I did purchase used because I could never afford this thing brand new. And it weighs, I think, like literally 8 pounds, folks. It is so heavy. And I hauled it around with me all day. And sometimes, especially in the heat, which was a very warm day that day, last weekend, is it doesn't function always. Sometimes it slows the processor motor in the camera. And so I was really concerned. And so here was my actual view that was taken with the camera at its regular focal length. But my son happened to know where we were standing. That thing way in the background is the stage. And as he walks down off the stage, he looks up, and I got a bunch of shots, but that's the one that really counted, folks. So there's my Cal Poly University graduate, or I should say our Cal Poly University graduate, Braden Appell. Congratulations again, son. You are going to make a fantastic school teacher, and we are so proud of you. Now, you'll still go back and get his credential. Catherine's going right into the workforce. She has a beautiful job at the local theater and doing both production on and off stage, which is going to be really great for her. So that's exciting. Now, number 2 on the grateful list, tons of free motion machine quilting. And if you're looking carefully and you've been paying attention to my social media, you'll see Kevin here, the hummingbird is number 4, so I can't be using this, but look at all of the free motion machine quilting, and I've got a little video to play for you of that free motion quilting. But first of all, what I want to talk about is you've been following along, and next week on the tutorials is how to make a memory quilt, kind of ideas also on a t-shirt quilt, but when you've got a bunch of blocks that are different sizes. So folks, I put out a request to my friends, the folks that have been around Braden and Catherine for a lot of years at my quilting retreats. And so I got a couple squares in afterwards. Tardy, folks, really? Come on. I'm just kidding you, Shar. So anyways, yes, included. And then I'd made an extra block in case we needed an extra block, but here it is. And I got to custom free motion machine quilt my son and daughter-in-law's wedding quilt. Super special. When my wife and I got married 28 years ago, we were blessed with a quilt. The backing fabric is from my fabric line. If you didn't recognize the big wide back bubbles, the glow dot, and the binding is also from my fabric line. And then each square here, in next week's video, you'll see all the layout, but every square is unique, and therefore every square has also been uniquely free motion machine quilted. And I had a wonderful time sneaking in some little designs, and they're getting married on a vineyard, so I put some grapes, which are also very easy for free motion quilting. I should say, at least that I find the circles, you know, flow pretty nicely. I was able to put some flowers. I don't know if you can see, there's a rose in the center of the ring there. And I snuck in some words like love and joy inside of the machine quilting. So this is you know what, I'm not even going to throw this one. I'll be right back. I'm going to go lay this gently over my chair. And that's something very special to us, especially the opportunity to get to make the wedding quilt using everyone's blocks. And so thank you everybody who participated in that. That'll hang at the ceremony and the reception next Saturday, which is coming up. And I'm sure we'll be talking about that next Friday, although next Friday will most certainly be a recorded video. So we don't miss out on the scrap masters, but Friday is actually rehearsal. So I think what I will do is Thursday night, or sometime anyways, I will record a fun little Friday video, but it'll all be recorded, but we'll include the scrap masters. Maybe I'll just do the roll, spin, and sew or something like that. I'll make sure you don't all miss out. And then the following week, of course, tons of wedding photos. So then, oh, and I didn't want to miss pointing out, also there was a block that was made that was already quilted and everything and embroidered, and it's Morro Rock. We live in Morro Bay. So also this is included with the whole set. So I will not also be throwing that across the room. I'm going to set this gently over here in my office as I come back over onto the lovely film set. Amazing, isn't this how this works? Okay, so number 3, Summer Jenny, and there she is again. That's Summer Jenny, my wife up front, and Summer Jenny is kind of a funny nickname I've given my wife. But as a California school teacher, but she also works with part of the administration, she gets about 45 days off in a row, maybe 30 days off in a row. And this summer, we're so excited about, like I was just saying, all the amazing things happening in our family. But we're also going to be doing a little bit of a remodel. But I love it when my wife doesn't have the restrictions of her regular job. I almost called it a 9-to-5, but you teachers work so many more hours than that. And that's part of the situation. She's so dedicated to her work that she's often in the classroom on the weekends or late in the evenings or whatnot. And so it's so fun to have her around, just being fun and having a great time. So we've been having a blast sharing extra meals together and things. So anyways, that's one of the things I am truly grateful for, is the person we refer to as Summer Jenny, as she shows up sometimes for about a week to 10 days at Christmas also, but we still just call her Summer Jenny then as well. All right, folks, last on the grateful list, here we go, Kevin. And Kevin is the hummingbird quilt you see hanging beside me. And of course, my set doesn't always afford the best of photographs. And so I do have a photograph, but before we get into Kevin here, that photograph, Remember, if you haven't seen before, I started when I first put out my first 9 fabrics from TX, New Worlds there. And so that is a Bird of Paradise quilt where it has my 9 prints on neutral backgrounds. And there's a close-up there so you can see the geometric fabrics I've created and then some of the free motion machine quilting. Well, so Kevin here, named for one of my good friends who's been really encouraging me to get this finished. I wanted to have more of an in-flight feel, maybe over a garden feel. I'm still using the fabrics, but now you're going to see that I've included, there were up to 18 different prints in the lineup. And then I've been doing a lot of drawing lately. So here's a quick video on the free motion machine quilting. It's a little shaky, but I really want you to be able to see all the work that went into it. And I'm super excited. I'm going to claim this as my best quilted quilt so far. Okay, here it is. Kevin the Colorful Hummingbird. I'm so incredibly excited about my free motion machine quilting. All of that was done with no marking. I think my trick that I learned for the first time was I put the quilt on the domestic to go around the edges of the applique to hold it all down, and then I took it over and basically floated it on the long arm and sideways so I could do those long flowers. No marking. I'm so excited. I guess I've been doing plenty of drawing this year. That's Kevin. All right. So anyways, there we go. So anyways, that's Kevin. That's Kevin. I'm super excited about it. Now, patterns will be available very, very soon. If you are at all interested in getting your name on a wait list for the pattern, because we don't even have the URL up yet, please just email me, rob@stitchinheaven.com, and I'll just keep your email handy. So as soon as Kevin is available, customer service will reach out and let you know you can be one of the first to have your version out. It's a raw edge applique pattern. My guess is cost will be about $25 or so, and it will come all actual size. Now, as far as kits go, I'm not sure if we'll actually make actual kits for Kevin or if I'll just encourage people to use things like the Boneyard bundles. But I really do love the fact that it is all using the new and newer worlds by Rob Appell, of course, by TX Fabrics. And then the backgrounds are Shadow Blush, and then they're wonderful solids at TX as well. So super exciting. And speaking of super exciting, Rob's probably almost done with that block now from Scrap Masters. So let me talk about it. If you don't know, Scrap Masters, we do a roll and spin every week. Last week, we generated a random block number 1, and our color was the blue-green, and we had 8 fabrics to work with. And so it was really fun to go ahead and see. These are some photographs that I found on that wonderful Facebook page. A couple of brights, a high contrast. This one I really like as it gets kind of more in the subtle, but still in the blue-greens. This one I'm seeing some of those Boneyard bundle fabrics being influenced throughout. Here's another one, I think, with a nice high contrast color play. Liking the looks of all that I'm seeing, all the work. We have folks playing some catch up this week, and I will be posting again in the Facebook group the current list. Now with Scrap Masters, you can work on anything at any time, but some folks are wanting the full list. So anyways, there was my finished creation from last week. You saw me working on it live on video. If you watched that video, I was just finishing assembling it. Here it is now. Let me lay it flat and get you that nice overhead shot. So there is my last week, which was week 17. So we are now in week 18, and Rob is probably just about done sewing that block live. So let's get back to what he's doing and see where he is at. All right, and here we are, folks. And let me show you real quick on the overhead. I guess I don't have it perfectly lined up, but you can see here that I got a lot of good stitching done. I got my half square triangles made. And now I'm just building them in, utilizing, funny enough, I know it was a, let's see, that's going to point out like that. Nope. Sorry, I can't think and speak at the same time. I know that it was supposed to be a red-orange, but I really ran short on my oranges. So I had to kind of bounce here, which I think is going to work out great in the long run. And if you're watching super carefully, yes, I did add in one extra color square because I ran out of my oranges altogether. But if we're trying to use up our scraps, folks, I think that's what we're after. Okay, so that looks pretty awesome. Ooh, I love being able to see it overhead like that. And now, because we have a few minutes left, oh, great. I'm looking at all of your comments there about Kevin. Yeah, super, super fun. So yeah, now folks, what I'm going to really do is today, because I haven't started to pre-assemble, I'm going to lock in my 1/4 inch seam allowance. We'll just chat a little bit while we sew this. I don't know if I'll sew through the whole thing in the next few minutes. I like to keep the videos under about 40 if I can. But real quick, I'm just going to go ahead and working from my side over. I'll just start sewing these together, at least into rows, so we can see what it looks like. And I'll let you visit more about how awesome the quilting is in Kevin. Now, I think that's pretty awesome. If I'm bragging too much, I apologize. But if you don't know, I've been studying a different form of art this last 2 years, which is tattooing. And it yields a lot of drawing, but also a lot of confidence. And so I free motion quilted all of that design on Kevin. Here, let me see if you can see him a little bit better there as I'm talking. With no markings. It was just easier. I had, as I was trying to explain in the little mini video, I did the applique on the machine I'm sewing on right now so I could stitch around it. I'm very out of control, if you will, on the long arm. So doing applique on the long arm for me is not something I'm comfortable with. So I wanted to do it that way, but then I thought, man, I'd sure like to get this project done tonight, and it would be great if I could figure out a way. And I knew there was a way to do it with adding it to the long arm. So it was really a blessing to get to experiment and then have it work out so well last night. It could have been just treacherous, but instead it worked out real nicely. And again, for my folks that were friends that were supporting along last night, I thought that was pretty rad. So thank you for all your support. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to start by pressing towards the wall. Help me remember the next one's towards the machine. So that'll help me nest out my seams a little bit. Okay, so now I'm sewing the same thing. And I like to do this where I just grab that second piece and I start sewing, and then that way everything can kind of stay organized as I kind of feed it in the machine. Not going to try to chain piece it. That would be too much today. Folks, if you have questions, oh yes, I did see one question go by already as I was just glancing up. So I will take a comments check here in a few minutes. But the quilt behind me, it was a comment I saw from the Facebook group. So the quilt behind me is called Synergy Remix. And the Synergy project is actually the cover photo for the book that we have available through Stitchin Heaven called Splice Magic. It was written by my dear friend Tiffany Hayes and Christy J. Smith. And the gals create a really cool technique where you get 3 half square triangles out of 2 squares, the big and the small. And so I have videos and I actually have kits. Okay, this time we're going towards the machine, so I'm just going to spin it. We have videos and we have kits available. And if you've never seen the break-in video where I snuck into Stitchin Heaven overnight and made myself a quilt, it was one of the first things I did when I was employed, just to see how serious they really were about my employment, is then I went ahead and made the video in the dark, it was wonderful. And you can actually see all the steps. So at any rate, that was a really fun video series, and those all are involved with this Splice Magic. Now I happen to know, and I probably shouldn't be saying it here on video, but there may be a new version of Splice Magic in the works right now, and I may be doing a really cool quilt that I might have already been marking the squares for right before this video started, which means it's probably more than a maybe, as long as they accept my quilt for the publication. I have to finish it first. Heck, let's be honest, folks, I have to start it first so that I can finish it. But it's a cool, cool technique, minus the millions of half square triangles we end up with. But at least you're making them faster. And I think I might have figured out a way to get away without as much trimming. But you know that's disastrous. Not trimming half square triangles can really be disastrous. Even these were trimmed. Again, with my, make sure I'm getting that right. Again, with the slotted trimmer today, because I'm going faster, so I'm not taking the time to press them open, then trim, then press them again. Okay, there's an applique question for the Unstrung Heroes. Jennifer, yes. Okay, so Jennifer, my Unstrung Heroes guitar quilt, it's a lot of pieces. Kind of like our dog park applique block of the month we just started at Stitchin Heaven. I saw some comments on that one recently where folks were feeling a bit overwhelmed. So that's my advice. Don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed. You have to trace and number all of the pieces on diffusible web. I really strongly recommend the Heat and Bond Featherlight because you're going to have lots of layers, Jennifer, as you work through that. I don't recommend Steam-A-Seam. It's too tacky and for that many layers, and it's too, it's much easier to work flat. You also might want to just wait a few months. Oh, I don't know if you want to wait a few months, Jennifer. I have watch the dog park block of the month tutorial that came out last week or a couple weeks ago. It'll give you a good idea of lettering, numbering, tracing, staying organized, using a light table, all that kind of stuff. You're using a different pattern, but it's the same techniques, right? Applique, it's just different designs, but it's the same approach, mostly. Sometimes we'll do a little reverse applique in there, but there isn't that on my pattern. So, my son's calling. Let me stop that real quick. And then hopefully it's not an emergency. And I will wrap up the video fairly soon. If he calls back, we will know that it is. And funny because even though I have my super cool technology set for Do Not Disturb, there are only a few folks that can get through, and the Cal Poly graduate is one of them. So anyways, but I want to finish this block out today. We're doing great on time, folks. Lots of great questions coming in. And what am I teasing about? About the quilt? About seriously teasing about having Kevin the hummingbird ready for availability very soon? No, I should have had it ready earlier and sooner, and I shouldn't have posted it without having all my ducks in a row or all my hummingbirds in a row. I'm rotating, don't worry. But it's just a matter of, I got so excited about it and I literally spent probably 12 hours on that project yesterday. I got up super early in the morning and I stayed up super late at night sewing on it, and it was just so fun. I had all the applique pieces ready to rock and roll, but I needed to build out the background, which I did. And I was also filming the tutorial for it while working. And so yes, I probably should have waited until we were a little closer to ready at Stitchin Heaven for you all, but ooh, that didn't sound good. But nonetheless, we did, and I'm excited. And you can certainly, like I said, send me an email at rob@stitchinheaven.com. Oh, okay, here's a fun thing to discuss. Tara's saying raw edge applique is good if you have that stitch on your machine. Well, Tara, I'm gonna not try to be a mean person and disagree, but I've never been one to use many of the applique. Oh, I found a bonus square. Not one to use many of the applique stitches because I like to free motion it. I actually do all of my applique through all the layers. I'm not just stitching around the top layer. Now with Dog Park, it's a big one and there's a lot of fusing, and that might be a wise choice to go through and stitch around those. But on Kevin the Hummingbird, I literally ironed all of the pieces down, and then I machine quilted through the top, through the batting and the backing, all the way around the hummingbird to hold it together. So there's no blind hem, no blanket stitching, no satin stitching involved, because I learned early on I was terrible at satin stitching. And some of my early applique quilts were like tropical sea life looking quilts, and they were not all applique. It was applique of fussy cut fabrics, almost like a broderie purse design, utilizing the same fabrics from the background. So it wasn't all applique. Like Kevin's a fully appliqued bird on top of his background there. But with the other projects I've done in the past, it's been a little bit more fussy cut style applique. And so I didn't want to show what was not actually appliqued by satin stitching or applique stitching around. So it's one of those things that I've done for a long time, and I find it very functional. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. And you might want to give it a try on a smaller project. Ah, yes, I see somebody celebrating my Ephesians 2:10, and Nancy, our viewer, who is following along today, made me that wonderful sticker on the back of my machine. And that's just, for me, why I know that the Lord wants me here. That way I'm not being overly religious on a quilting show with my Jesus tattoo, but you know, that's it. You know, like I feel like I'm supposed to be here for a reason. And because you all support me every week, I feel that confirmation, and I feel like we're doing positive things here to support both the creative arts, but also emotional health. You know, I think we're doing some good things by our community together and sewing together and recognizing the need to talk about stuff and sew through some stuff. And so anyways, yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, oh, rotate. Here, I almost got a little in front of myself. Okay, this is it. I say we just sew all these rows together, call it a block for today. I think you'd like to see that. I think you all deserve that. Let's do a